My name is Elisabeth Kuklenyik. I am a graphic novelist working out of Chicago. I fell into comics during my undergraduate degree and have kind of been pursuing it ever since. My project is kind of has a foundation of a comic series that I was working on or putting out every now and then during college. It was kind of a way of just reflecting on like my past, because it kind of switches from autobiography to like my research interests. And it was at first like a series of like short books, like not even 20 pages at a time. Like they were just little zines that I would like bind and print myself. The series like at first was called My Mother of Old Bones. I'm very fixated on Eastern European folklore, mostly due to my own roots. I come from a Hungarian family, and just that dueling identity is something I think about a lot. Like coming from an immigrant family and growing up in the southern United States, when you grow up in a Hungarian family, but also in the South, there's just like this weird lack of belonging anywhere. So like that feeling of otherness is something I kind of lean into. And in terms of the folk tales and the mythology, I'm really fixated on witch figures, particularly Baba Yaga. She has kind of been an ongoing obsession for me, and the story is basically like kind of the moment I discovered her, and the ideas I explore are kind of articulated through this like imaginary relationship I have with her in my head. For me, she's really aspirational. Which is really weird, because if you just like do a Google search of her, she's like this very scary old hag who lives in the woods who might eat your children. That's kind of like the surface level interpretation of her. But there are also a lot of stories where like she saves your life and kind of helps you out of your bad situation. So right away there's this really multifaceted like moral ambiguity that I find really interesting. And there's also this other phenomenon, because yeah, she's the crazy witch in the forest, but like there's also suggestions, like very casual suggestions, that she controls time itself. And when I see that, I'm like, oh God, that's like the power of, that's like a deity. That's not like a crazy lady in the woods. So one thing I like to think a lot about, not just in terms of Baba Yaga, but like other witch figures from other folk tales from other parts of the world. Like what if, like the question I try to ask is like, what if like all of these figures were once divine? And I guess like my fixation with her is, at least in terms of the story I'm trying to tell, because I am reflecting on like the main like relationships I've had, and it's kind of a story of the times I have made myself small for people. Like my tendency to like rip myself in two and ask somebody, which one do you want more, you know? And when I discovered who Baba Yaga was, and I don't know, there was something aspirational about it. Like she is an outlier even in her own realm. And she is herself, even if that means isolation. She belongs to herself, even if it means like being alone for literally eternity in her hut in the woods. And yeah, that's something that I find really ripe for inspiration, but also really aspirational and inspiring.